Nice chat, man. You have a good one. Are you almost strictly crowd? Me, I'll try to stay far. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Good evening, everyone. If we can have a seat, we're going to go ahead and get started. So let's say welcome to the annual District Policing Committee's report. I am John Adams. I am a co-chair of the Cleveland Community Police Commission. I want to welcome everyone. I want to thank all of the commanders and Chief Todd and all of the members of the DPCs, as well as I see a few council members here, members of the community. I see some commissioners as well. So I would like to say welcome and thank you for coming. So the whole point of this meeting is that we all know that Cleveland is currently in a consent decree with the federal government regarding police reform. And so in paragraph 26 of an over 400-page consent decree, it states that that the district policing committees shall report out to the commission. So purpose, sorry about that. This meeting will serve that purpose, and so this will be a fairly simple meeting where we'll just, we'll start with District 1. We will then go on from District 1 to District 5, and then afterwards there will be a Q&A in the back with the commanders for each district. So we'll start this out with Commander Wesley Woods from District 1, my district.
Nice to meet you. Are you coming? Good evening. I'm 1st District Commander Wesley Woods, and this is my co-chair, Sabrina Otis. District 1, we represent the Cams, Jefferson, Bel Air, Puritas, Edgewater, Cadell, West Boulevard, and Hopkins neighborhood. Next slide. Meetings and community membership. DPC meeting dates are the first Thursday of every month. A variety of speakers to address problems in the communities, representatives from the prosecutor's office, and other special guests as requested from the people at the meetings. Actually, for February, we have Sergeant Cody Sheets from Narcotics coming to talk to people at the meeting about fentanyl and other designer drugs. We have Coffee with a Cop events during the day, participated in leadership programs at high schools within the district, worked with churches in the district to assist with food distribution and provide community resource lists. Addressing crime and safety issues, intelligence-based and data analytics-driven policing models, focused patrol, microgrids, criminal enforcement details and initiatives, engaging businesses with FUSE's program. We utilize our social media to tell people in the community what's going on our Facebook page, when we having another Coffee with a Cop, or when we having a town hall meeting with the mayor. We promote and utilize Crime Stoppers on our social media pages also. Barriers for DPCs, community participation from different neighborhoods. We have changed venue locations to get more engagement. Next slide. More on that, we supposed to have a couple meetings at the rec centers in the summer, and we also have talked about having our Coffee with a Cop on Saturdays, a few when it gets warmer, because you got the people that work Monday through Friday. Working with community members, hosts, that's the Homeless Outreach Services team. Daily efforts of our community engagement officers, neighborhood walks, which Sabrina Otis has assisted me with, Shop with the Cop, coat giveaways, school engagement events, first responder day, lunch with teens, book reading for elementary students. Attend ward meetings, work closely with city council members and community development corporations, transparency and direct answers to questions at meetings. They also promote our technological resources, i.e. FUSES and Real-Time Crime Center. I believe that's it. Next slide. Yeah, that's it. Welcome, District 2 Commander Mafo Judd. What you doing right there?
Lou, coming up with me? You don't have to if you don't want to. Good evening, everybody. I'm 2nd District Commander Tim Mafo Judd. I'm excited to be up here talking to everyone. I always love an opportunity to address the public. I even got a haircut for tonight, so thank you. You're allowed to clap. I'm still short and ugly, so thank you. That hasn't changed, but what is changing is District 2. I'd like to acknowledge Michael McDonald, our community relations representative who's retiring next month, so please a round of applause. Thank you, Michael, for everything you've done. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
Because you got a haircut, I didn't.
Said he didn't get a haircut because I did. And I'd like to introduce Lou Gonzalez Jr., our new community relations representative in the 2nd District. Thanks, Lou.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We represent the Detroit Shoreway, Ohio City, Stockyards, Clark Fulton, Brooklyn Center, Old Brooklyn, and Tremont. And I'm proud to say that I am a Detroit Shoreway resident and former Old Brooklyn resident. So District 2 for me is home. Thank you, yeah, I appreciate that. Next slide, please. All right, so our district policing committee meetings are the 2nd Tuesday of every month. We have those currently off Fulton Avenue. We do Coffee with a Cop events during the day. We want to reach out to each ward in 2025 at least once. But what I think is noteworthy is that we have Coffee with a Cop every Wednesday at One Hope NEO. That's on Fulton Avenue, right in the heart of the Latino community. It shows our partnership with the large Hispanic community within the 2nd District. So every Wednesday, you can count on that. We've actually posted that on our website or our Facebook today. Cookout with Cops, one of our lieutenants, and part of our strategy in the 2nd District, part of moving forward, is every police officer is pulling on the same rope. Lieutenant Michael Dunst took it upon himself to organize a cookout with cops in June up in the Old Brooklyn neighborhood. Onyx Outreach, we work with them pretty often to get resources to our neighborhoods. These are people who developed a company and want to donate to our community, so they work through the Cleveland Police Foundation to help us impact the community. Our community meetings in the 2nd District, last year alone, we had 64 community meetings attended since January 1st. That's a lot. That shows our dedication to our neighborhoods in each of our zones. Every year since I remember I was a patrolman, myself and Sergeant Mitch Sheehan started the Holiday Sock and Underwear Drive for our unsheltered community. The 2nd District houses St. Malachi and the Westside Catholic Center, St. Herman's, where a lot of our unsheltered individuals go for resources. We recognized that here in the 2nd District, and we put forth an effort to donate to them. So every year, the 2nd District, our communities, at our block clubs, online, we accept socks and underwear for adults, homeless people, our unsheltered persons, and we give those to over 9 charities within the 2nd District. So it's our officers and our community helping each other. So I think that's noteworthy. Thank you, I appreciate that. Community problem-oriented policing and our neighborhood response group. So what we've done is taken our community policing to a different level. With our neighborhood resource officers, or our NRGs, Neighborhood Response Group, our NRGs, we have one officer on each squad that makes up our patrol section that addresses community needs every day. Community problem-oriented policing is when the community and the police are working together to solve a problem. Hispanic Police Officer Association monthly meetings. One thing I wanted to stress, and part of our team here at the 2nd District, is to include the Latino and Hispanic community in everything that we do. That being said, we have an HPOA, which I'm a proud member of, the Hispanic Police Officer Association. We have an HPOA meeting every month with their representatives. Every other month, we meet with Councilwoman Santana and community stakeholders at a different level to ensure that we have an open line of communication each month with the Latino community. And our upcoming monthly meetings with Community Relations Representative Lou Gonzalez. Next slide, please. Crime and safety issues. We have neighborhood walks. We just had one when I first took over at the 2nd District with Councilwoman Jenny Spencer about a month and a half ago, and I'm proud to report I went to a community crime strategies meeting last night with her, and at the end of the meeting I said, who is unsatisfied with the progress we've made? And nobody raised their hand. In fact, we got so many compliments about officers wanting to be there, engaging the community, and solving their problems. I was pleased, and so is the community. So we'll always continue to do those neighborhood walks and engage the community. Menlo Park Academy, our safe routes to schools, we actually start tomorrow, where we're going to engage members of the community, and they put signs in their front yard to signify that it's a safe route for children to travel to school. We're actually going to have one member of our district on the board at Menlo Park Academy. Our county juvenile court. So, part of CPOP is working within the division and accessing resources outside of the division, and that was our juvenile court. Statistics showed that juveniles were breaking into vehicles over the past year, a lot of crimes involving juveniles. So we met with the juvenile court, Bridget Gibbons, and we developed a program together. In the past, children were arraigned the next day and maybe given an ankle monitor. We came up with a program where children are given an ankle monitor the night of their arrest and arraigned immediately the next day. In addition, they're also given social resources to try and combat future break-ins in vehicles. I'm proud to report that there's over an 80% success rate with those juveniles. You're allowed to clap for that too, everybody. Thank you. In addition, and just to sum up, I know I'm long-winded, our focus patrols in 2024 are over 1,673, where we focus on high crime data spots and put officers in those high crime areas. In addition, that includes over 35 officers. So it's not just one, it's not just four, it's not a specific unit. It's a whole plethora of officers from the district pulling on that same rope together. It's everybody's issue. Community engagement, which I think is very important. I love the community. I love reaching out to the community. Since January 1st of 2024, we've had over 637 community engagements. Part of that CPOP model is accessing additional camera requests. So we bring cameras in on a trailer to high crime areas and additional lighting to high crime areas. One of those areas was the Hingetown neighborhood where vehicles are getting broken into. So we put additional cameras and additional lighting. However, some people couldn't sleep at night with the additional lighting, so we had to take that out. But for the meantime, that worked to provide extra lighting and cameras to that area. We engage our businesses with the Fuchsias program. So we ask our local businesses, our neighbors, people who come to our community meetings, places we go for coffee with a cop, so if we can use their cameras. Fuchsias allows our detectives to view those cameras and help solve crimes in the area. Again, the community and the police working together to solve problems. Crime details. We recognized, since I've been here at the 2nd District, the Dudley Triangle, which I mentioned with Jenny Spencer, Councilwoman Jenny Spencer, and the Ohio City area with vehicle break-ins. In the Dudley Triangle area mentioned earlier, Ohio City was plagued with vehicle break-ins. After we focused our patrols and details in that area with both covert, overt, and community resources, we arrested over 8 juveniles who admitted to over 35 vehicle break-ins, as well as aggravated robberies. We were also able to confiscate several guns in the process. So those details worked. Thank you, I appreciate that. And lastly, our barriers for our district policing committees, which I'm working with Mr. Gonzalez Jr. In the past few weeks, I've met with him several times. Community participation from different neighborhoods. I find that when I go to these meetings, it's the same people very often. I want as many people at our meetings as we can get. I want different people from different neighborhoods and different backgrounds to come to our meetings so we can always engage our community. And lastly, we're looking for a venue change option. I know that the Latino community has reached out to us, and I hear them. So we want to look at changing our district policing committee meetings to One Hope NEO, which is in the middle of the Hispanic community, showing our involvement and our commitment to the Hispanic community. Next slide. Just several things before I get off stage. Drive-through toy giveaways, worked with Providence House. It's a domestic violence center. New Beginnings Life Ministry, we just did a sock and underwear drive, gave them a lot of our donations. Random Acts of Kindness, we were given over 60 stockings this year from a suburb school, and randomly went out in the community and provided those stockings to kids without any prompts. Shop with a Cop, the Edna House, we provided a CPOP for. They had vagrants. These are women recovering, and they've reached out to us and told us what a great job we were doing. St. Herman's Hospitality feeds our unsheltered every day. We've worked with them in the past. Our sock and underwear drive, like I mentioned before, our bi-monthly Latino meetings. Habitat for Humanity modular homes we just did this past weekend. We provided policing while they built several homes in vacant areas, and now people who wanted to get into those homes who prior couldn't, did. Safety audits for businesses and residential structures on request. If you have an issue with your community or your business or your home, we'll come out and do a safety audit at no charge. And lastly, Lou and I plan on, I think this might set a trend, a future clergy council in District 2. We'd like to reach out to all the clergy, regardless of denomination or religion, and make sure that we include them probably quarterly in meetings so that we can address the clergy's needs in our community. Very often we find, obviously, they're leaders within the community, and we want their input. So District 2, we're moving forward, and I'm proud to say I'm here. It's an absolute honor. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. District 3, Acting Commander, Lieutenant Jackie Bennett.
That's an act to follow, huh? So I'm Jackie Bennett. I'm a lieutenant in the 3rd District. Commander Tucker will be retiring on Monday. So I'm happy to be here. I've been involved in a lot of the things that have been going on over the past couple of years, but in no way am I trying to take the credit for all the hard work that the commander put in motion. I would like to introduce you to Adrian Calhoun. He's our CPOP coordinator. He's going to come up here with our district rep, Tiffany McClay. That's where the magic happens, right? So real quick, while they're headed up here, the 3rd District covers downtown, Goodrich, Kirtland, Central, Industrial Valley, North Broadway, Huff, Fairfax, University Circle, and the Central neighborhood. Next slide. Thanks. So our district policing committee meets monthly, and it's mostly these two that deserve the credit, right? They do all the hard work. So every 3rd Tuesday, and we have it at our 3rd District community room. I'm proud to say that about 2 years ago, our attendance was very low. Since then, it's improved significantly. Most of that is attributed to you, ma'am. We went from about 5 to 10 people attending regularly to a full room now. So that's a win for us. We have had building and housing, the prosecutor's office, the fire department, people from Crime Stoppers, organizations within the division, our council folks coming in and saying hello. Various different agencies, mental health, drug addiction services, kind of whatever the community is telling us they want to hear more about or questions that were asked at a meeting, we try to bring those resources in at the next meeting. We in the 3rd District have a lot of other police agencies within our district. We have Cleveland State University Police, University Circle Police, a bunch of hospitals, so we work with those law enforcement partners, and oftentimes they attend our meetings as well. They talked a lot about community problem-oriented policing, and that's what it is, right? So their names are already up here. We have 2 CEOs in our district as well, Roger and Malcolm, and they attend these meetings every month with these 2 folks and do the work that actually needs to get done. Next slide, please. So addressing crime, what are we doing to address crime, right? A lot of different things. So you have enforcement, but also community engagement. We can't do it alone. Prior to this job, I was an accountant, so that intelligence-led policing thing is my bread and butter. We love looking at the stats, seeing where those hot spots are, and trying to see how we can get in front of a problem, address one that's already happening, and seeing what that data shows us. We try to include everyone. That's the collaborative district strategy, so not just one piece of the puzzle, all of them. We have a information sharing system at the 3rd District, so we're getting that crime data and stuff we get from crime analysis unit out to our patrol officers, our CEO officers, Officer Calhoun, our community, and trying to attack that problem from every angle and not just one. We have a lot of special events in the 3rd District, so there's a lot of planning and timing and location, weather, pulling resources, working with our partners, the sheriff's office, so forth, so on, that go into that strategic planning. And we do a lot of criminal enforcement details throughout the city, but we partner with State Highway Patrol, OIU, who handles liquor investigations, University Circle Police joins us on a lot of those details. Social media has increased significantly over the last 2 years, and let me not steal the credit for that. It's this guy showing up in all the photos. And working with Crime Stoppers. We actually get a lot of tips that come in from Crime Stoppers, and that's one of the best ways for the community to give information if they're apprehensive about reporting it to us directly. So it's a third party, we don't get any information that identifies them, and it's been a really useful tool. We get that information out to the investigators and solve problems. Safety meetings and presentations. So like I said, we have a lot of different organizations. We have presented in the last year to every sort of person that would have us. Schools, businesses, nonprofit organizations. If you want us there, let us know and we will find a way to make that happen, right? We want anyone that will have us. We can't do it alone. We need all the help we can get. And I love the different perspectives that those organizations bring. Depending on where they're from, what they're working with, what their passion is, they bring a different viewpoint than maybe we have, so that's been invaluable to us. Next slide, please. They put a lot on that one, huh? It's getting a little small. So we already talked about Adrian and Tiffany here and how awesome they are. Meeting with our, that all-of-government approach, Community Relations Board. We've done some cool things with them, particularly relating to juvenile crime over the last year. Downtown in Public Square, unfortunately, we had a few incidents involving a lot of juveniles. It's one of the things I'm probably most proud of. I see you back there, Mr. Simmons. Thank you for all your support on that mission. Where we had a plan in place, right? So we learned from our mistakes, and maybe that event didn't go the way we wanted it to. So we had a plan in place for a few events that happened throughout the year, where if there were events with juveniles that were misbehaving, we could bring them back to the district, wait for parents to come and get them, connect them with the appropriate social services, pass them off to community relations, have least amount of law enforcement involvement in that process as possible, right? And then follow up with the family when they came to pick up those kids to see what can we do to follow up and provide that full circle support so we don't see the same behavior again in the future. And shortly after one of our last events, I got emailed a picture of that juvenile that might have been a problem, working at one of our community engagement events with the community relations team, and that was really near and dear to my heart. I was happy to see that actually worked. A lot of work went into it. And again, the whole point of all this, right, is that we couldn't have done it alone. I got a clap too. So let's see, where are we at? He talked about juvenile court collaboration and that expanded monitoring program. No need to revisit that. We actually have a victim advocate at our district. So in the 3rd District, we have an advocate from the May Dugan Center who is available on a walk-in basis, appointment basis. If there's a family that we think would benefit from her support, our officers can contact her directly, and then she can reach out and offer different victim services, counseling. She's a trauma specialist, work through all sorts of different issues, and if her agency isn't able to handle that, she knows who can and connect them with that appropriate resource. And she's right in our building, so that has been super helpful to us in making that connection valuable. And if someone comes in to the building, she's there right on site if we need her in that moment. We have been to block clubs and safety walks and board meetings and all sorts of other fun parts. And that's really where we hear what people want from us and gives us the ability to come up with those creative solutions together. Over 1,500 community engagements were done by our 2 officers that are community engagement officers. Jones and Sutton mentioned them already. Park and walks in 2024, there were over 1,000 completed. That's where officers are getting out of the car. They're entering that data so that we can track it and engaging with the community, normally overlaid with what we've identified as a hotspot area for crime. We do coffee with a cop. The neighborhood cleanups, that's one of my favorites. Different sports events, veteran appreciation, because we also have the VA, so that's one of our law enforcement partners as well. Next slide, please. Oh, not as bad as I thought. And with that, we will have Heather Mitch, Captain and Acting Commander of the 4th District.
Good evening. I'm Captain Heather Mitch. I'm currently the acting commander of the 4th District. This is a recent appointment for me. I have been working in the 4th District for about a week. I've had the pleasure tonight of meeting Ed Paris. Ed, can you wave or stand up? I have to give Ed a shout out. He was one of the first people that called me when I found out I was going to be the acting commander, because he knew this meeting was coming up and he wanted to help me prepare. So I got to thank Ed for that. The area of the 4th District covers Mount Pleasant, Union Miles, Shaker Buckeye, the Broadway Slavic Village area, Woodland Hills, Kinsman, Lee Seville, and the Lee Harvard areas. The next slide, please. So much like the other districts, we have our meeting. Ours is the second Tuesday of every month. These are our upcoming meetings planned for this year. So if anybody would like to attend our meetings, we have put it up here for you to see. We don't have any up there for November and December because of the holidays. We kind of plan that later around some schedules. We have representatives from 8 different zones that attend these meetings. The meetings are led by Bernita Thomas, who's the co-chair. During this, the district, for their part, we provide information on crime trends and updates on ongoing issues. And then the zone representatives inform us on the issues that they have in their neighborhoods. We take those issues back. We have an internal database as well as our CPOP database in District 4. So we track all of these complaints. We make sure they're assigned and that they're getting follow-up action. During these meetings, we also discuss upcoming events and things that we can do in the neighborhood. Next slide, please. So, in addressing crime and safety issues, one of the things we do are community resource list. Our community engagement officers, or CEOs, take these things to every event. These include things like the Cuyahoga County street cards, which show people resources for different issues that they may have. We've also really been trying to recruit our businesses and citizens for the Fuchsia's Camera Program, which Commander Mafo Judd explained to you, trying to get people who have their own security cameras for us to have access to those to help us solve crimes. We also pass out Crime Stoppers information, which Acting Commander Bennett spoke about, and that's one of the best ways that we get information on things. We also bring in representatives for our monthly meetings to help answer questions and concerns. This can be people from the prosecutor's office, it can be people from building and housing, waste collection, fire. We just try to identify the issues that we're having in our neighborhoods and that our representatives bring to us, and if we need outside resources for those, we try to bring those people to the meetings to help answer those questions. We've also this year, they looked at different microgrids, and a microgrid is an area that might specifically need more attention than other areas. This year in the 4th District, one of those areas was East 116th and Buckeye. That area houses a Huntington bank that, because of the issues in the neighborhood, was planning to close that branch and leave. This would have resulted in the members of our community having to leave our district or even our city to do banking. So the district worked very closely with the bank. They did targeted patrols in that area, providing special attention, traffic enforcement, just increased visibility. And we've worked with the bank, and as a result, the bank decided to stay open. So that was good for the members of our community. Thank you. I got a clap too. See, I got a clap too, thank you. This microgrid is still active for us. We're still doing these targeted patrols and visibility with the goal of keeping the bank there for our citizens. Our other area that we did a microgrid in was East 130th and Buckeye in the Shaker Square area. Anybody who knows that area knows that this is a lot of restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores. It just brings a lot of people in. And so we increased park and walks in that area. The goal is to make people that live in the neighborhood feel comfortable going out to dinner, grocery shopping, and enjoying that area. We also did our safety fair in that area and coordinated with the local farmers market. This then increased participation in the safety fair because, we were getting crossover between the farmers market and the safety fair. So our barriers, much like everybody else, it's participation. And one thing that we've noticed in our district is that a lot of the people participating are just older people in our neighborhoods. So it's how do we attract other people? How do we get more diversity in our meetings? So we've come up with some plans to do that this year. We're going to engage our CEOs, which are our community engagement officers, and we have plans to canvass the neighborhoods with flyers for our meetings because we're already using social media, and that's a great resource, but not everybody in the neighborhoods actually go on social media. So the question is how do we reach out to people that don't have that resource or aren't going on social media? So the idea is our officers will actually go out and canvass the neighborhoods with these flyers to invite people at our meetings and to talk to people in the neighborhoods about attending our meetings. Next slide. Okay, so how are the district commanders working with members of their community to solve problems brought up in the DPCs? So we're utilizing our CEOs, and now we have our recently started NRG program, which Commander Maffo-Judd kind of explained to you. All of our CEOs and our NRG officers have phones assigned to them. They're handing out their numbers to people so that people have that direct contact with them, that they have somebody that they can directly call with their problem that they know is going to work to solve it. We're inputting these into our database and making sure that they're assigned and tracked so that we're meeting all of those. One of the things we've found is that most of our complaints aren't really about violent crime. Most of them are about traffic and parking. So we're trying to address that. Actually, while I stand here tonight, we have a traffic initiative going on in the 4th District that all the other districts are helping us with. So thank you to all the other commanders to sending us people for our traffic initiative. We also work with partners like the State Highway Patrol to also help with that. We bring in building and housing. When it says we bring in people with expertise for non-police complaints, that's generally we work with building and housing. A lot of that has to do with people that are squatting, or the big one for us is illegal dumping on both either city lots or private property. So we bring in outside resources to help with that. We obviously attend community meetings so that we can get out there and ask people what their complaints, concerns, and needs are, and we bring those back and we put them in our system and try to address all those. Most of that happens at the monthly meeting, but once again, like many other districts, we attend other events as well. And during our DPC meetings, I was told, because I'm fairly new there, that we like to give our DPC members homework. And that homework is to come back to the next meeting with some ideas on what you think that we should be doing to help. And then we see that if those are realistic ideas, if they're things, but we're trying to work with our community to come up with the ideas. So it's, we put these problems out and we say, okay, everybody who comes to this meeting, come back the next time and tell me if you have an idea on what you think we could do to solve this so that we're working together to solve them. Next slide. So this is just kind of what we did this year, mostly through our CEOs, the commander, or now our NRG officers. They attended 51 community meetings and 72 separate events. So altogether, we were engaging in the community with 123 chances for them to have our undivided attention. So, next slide. Thank you very much for your attention, and Commander Johnny Johnson.
Thank you. All right, thank you, everyone, and thank you to the CPC for allowing us to come. And before I get started, just in case you guys are wondering, yes, going last is not fun. I know it's going to be, it has potential of being redundant, but I'm going to try to hit on some of the points that the other district commanders are also doing, but may not have explained in detail. First, I want to give a shout out to Miguel Booker. He's my representative. He's been phenomenal, not only at getting us more members to come to the meetings, but also scheduling our meetings and doing a lot of mediations so these incidents don't rise up to police action. Thanks, Miguel. We called him the bearded Energizer Bunny. That's what he's like to us. Okay, District 5. District 5 is Glenville, the best school in Cleveland, Ohio, just to say. All right. I'm not biased at all. So it's the Glenville neighborhood, the Forest Hills neighborhood, Euclid Green, St. Clair Superior, Waterloo Art District, and, yeah, we have to take Collinwood. Next slide. All right, so like all the other districts, we have a monthly meeting. Ours is the third Wednesday of every month. Typically, it's at the Five Points Community Center on 152nd, but we move it often to schools, to different community centers. What we found in our neighborhood that, oftentimes people have difficulties traveling to other meetings, so we like to have it in different parts of the district so that they can get a chance to come out and see us. Our co-chairs, our current co-chair is Datisha Dawson. She's a resident of the 5th District, and of course, my man, Miguel Booker. Like all the other districts, we have prosecutor's office, building and housing, fire, and all of them come to our meetings because it's an all-city approach to safety. So oftentimes we think of safety, we're only thinking of crime and everything else. No, safety is fire safety, food safety, all of it. It's all-encompassing. And our goal is to get a lot of the information and resources out so that we all know what's available. And I'm sorry, before we go to the next slide, I have to shout out our council people. We have a couple here, Councilwoman House Jones and Councilman Casey. So oftentimes our council people not only attend the meetings, but the reason why their partnership is so important because oftentimes they get information about things we didn't even know was happening, right? So a close relationship with our city council helps us all keeping our district safe. All right, next slide. Focus patrol microgrids, engage, yeah, we did that. So one important thing is our real-time crime center. There are a lot of cameras around the city, not only with the businesses, with the Fuchsia's program, but some of the cameras that the city's own. These are phenomenal investigative tools, right? Oftentimes when things happen, they happen, we get there, they're gone. These cameras are picking it up and it's helping our detectives put together these cases, all right? And so we want to shout out to the community about that because this is a city entity, right? So our community members have given us permission to do these things. I used to be the commander of community policing, so I get first dibs on crime prevention and personal safety presentations. So what those are, again, it's a preventative measure. Members of the Bureau of Community Relations come out and they actually not only participate in the meeting, they actually go out to different city locations and residents to kind of assess things you can do to keep your house safe, to keep yourself safe as you move through the city, right? And the reason why I like to put that I put that in there because most people don't even know that exists and that we offer that. Okay, and part of the consent decree, Chapter 26, talks about what we can do to improve our monthly meeting or our committees. And the other commanders touched on a lot of things we're doing with the flyers, with the social media and everything else. But our biggest, the most successful thing that we've done, believe it or not, as a person, is Miguel. Miguel gets out there, he goes everywhere. Come to the meeting, right? When people call, and actually when people call the district to talk about things or complaints that they have against officers, my folks and all the other district commanders' folks are trained to tell them, go to the commander's meeting so you can speak to the commander directly. All right, we don't want to make this just a love fest. We want people to come with real issues, real problems, so we can solve them in real time. All right, next slide. And working with the community members, our safety fairs. Sometimes we've been doing safety fairs for quite some time, and I think sometimes we overlook how important it is to us forming partnerships with our community members. Coach for Kids, we were able to get a lot of coats donated from, I forget the name, Kid Note is horrible. But anyway, we had a lot of donated coats, so instead of just randomly trying to randomly give them out, we tried to be a little bit more targeted. We selected some officers that are routinely in the community, that knows which families really need them. Okay, which families really needed them, and we got them to them. We also partnered with Euclid Park School to make sure, and had the principals point us towards some children that really needed these coats. All right, and various food giveaways like the other districts and the community engagement events. John Glenn is a city entity, and I want to say 8-9 times out of the year during the summer, they give out foods to our residents. And not only do we partner with them to help keep it safe, but we also help them give out the food. All right, next slide. All righty, any questions? See, my applause was to get off the stage. Oh, I'm not sure what's next.
All right, so can we give the commanders another round of applause, please, for those presentations? So we're a little bit ahead of time. So considering that, what we thought would be nice if we can maybe do like maybe a 10-15 minute Q&A for the community members that are here to be able to ask any questions they like. And then afterwards, if they would like additional time with the commander, we have the table set up in the back. So I think that Hannah Macias from the Police Accountability Team is going to assist. So if you got questions, now's the time.
Thank you. My name is Anthony Thomas. I have my first question is directed towards our Commander Wood. I'm a resident taxpayer of your community. I was kind of disappointed in your presentation. I expected more. You didn't seem to be very enthusiastic, or in being like you would really engage and want to be want the job of commander. You're a new commander. I'm very passionate about Cadell. That's the neighborhood where Tamir Rice passed away. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in Cadell, and we need strong leadership. We need committed leadership and enthusiastic leadership. I saw the other commanders come to the podium, very engaged, talking, giving big accomplishments. So again, I was very disappointed in your presentation. I want to be clear to the Chief of Police that the Cleveland Police Department has caused great harm, to my community, the black community. Institutional racism, white supremacy in the police department has caused great harm to my community. When the former chief Hatton, head officer, selling drugs in the 5th Ward, I, as a resident of the city of Cleveland, still have to, I suffer from that because the babies of the crack epidemic, I have to engage with them. And this is what, your officers did when they were selling drugs in my neighborhood and getting people hooked on drugs. And again, the institutional racism and the white supremacy in that department has done great harm to this community. We look at this consent decree. It's cost the city over $60 million. That's a lot of money that could have been invested into my community, such as for recreation centers, youth programs, and things of that nature. But yet, we still trying to clean up, the harm that institutional racism and white supremacy have done to our community. I resent that. I'm a taxpayer, and I don't want to support any, that type of behavior. These road cops selling drugs in our community, getting our women and children cooked on drugs, fentanyl running rampant through our community. $60 million of taxpayer money been spent going into, these officers' pocket. And I would like to talk to officer for the 2nd District, Commander. I know you gave a very colorful presentation on all the good things that you have going on in the 2nd District, but I see that you didn't mention Denison. What are you doing about Denison? Also, I want to be clear. I took time out of my time to come here today. I believe you to be a xenophobic, homophobic, and anti-black racist. I think it would have been beneficial, it would have showed courage if you just would have declined that promotion of commander. It is showing that Mayor Bibbs is not protecting black people in this city when he hires someone such as yourself to be we have hundreds of good individuals in the police department, and you're going to tell me that he hired someone who made a homophobic, a xenophobic slur? Would the Jewish community allow you to be a commander in their community? Why should I accept that? I don't accept it. So again, to Mayor Bibb, you're not protecting the black community, and you're going to answer to that. So those are my comments today, and
Sir, we appreciate your comments. I would recommend, I know as also a resident of District 1, I believe they meet the first Thursday of every month. So I would say we can come there. Also okay, so if there are some ways that maybe it's a police commission could assist you,
Well, no, I think the police commissioner is assisting me. I get the email blast. You sent out the email blast that you were not in support of the 2nd District Commander being promoted, but yet the administration,
we can talk about that. We can talk about that. I just want to make sure that we have an opportunity for others in the community. Officer, Commander Woods, would you like to respond?
I just want to say, sir, I'm working on an enthusiasm, and every day I'm working with like Councilman Casey, Co-Chair Sabrina Otis, and Ms. Tammy Hanna, getting out in the neighborhood, trying to do better. It's a working effort. I've never been a commander, and it's like working on the fly. We're busy doing our best to engage, and we got some of the best CEOs in all the districts. So we're trying to do our best, and what I will say, the chief and the rest of the command staff, they're holding all of us accountable. So things that happened in the past, they're trying to make sure it don't repeat themselves. So just get a chief and the rest of the deputy chiefs and the commanders a chance. I know, I just wanted to say that, everybody make a mistake, but we're trying to do better, all right? And the chief they're doing their best to make sure the things that happened in the past don't happen again.
I'd like to share with you, Commander Wood, that I have some that are some bad apples.
Okay. Here you go.
So I just wanted to say, I think this gentleman had some really good points in that part of the whole reason that we're here and part of the whole reason that the consent decree was originated was because we have a significant issue with race with our police department in the city of Cleveland. So I'd love to hear the two-part question. I'd love to hear from each of you, like, what are the demographic percentages of the communities, the districts that you serve, and is your district representative of that? And what are you doing to fix that issue in Cleveland? And then the second part is that I can't leave here tonight without addressing the huge elephant in the room that I'd love to hear each of your comments on what you're each doing to protect the good people of your districts in the world of the ICE raids that are happening now. Thank you.
All right, so first of all, big statements like that with the immigration, everything, that's a question for the chief, because that's a larger question. Information about the demographics, you're asking demographics of people versus people and officers?
The districts that you serve and the officers in that district.
I'm sorry, I'm just not understanding the question.
So if you're in District 1,
Okay.
what are the demographics of District 1?
Okay.
And the police officers that are in District 1, how do those demographics compare to the people you serve? Because I assume
Okay.
that the goal is that you be reflective of your community, and I assume that that's a piece of the Community Police Commission is to improve that engagement and that reflection of the community.
Okay, all right, now I get the question, I understand the question. Unfortunately, that's not a question I was prepared to answer today, but that is definitely something that we can get pretty quickly. It's a good question, and I just wasn't prepared for that today. Any other commanders? Okay. Thanks, Chief.
Thanks. Okay. Good evening. So I'm Chief Todd, Chief of the Cleveland Division of Police. I'll touch on both of your topics, starting with demographics. One of the things we don't want to do with the Division of Police is isolate our officers. We want to make sure that we have diversity throughout each district. We had our first Sikh officer that recently joined the Division of Police. He was sworn in about a month ago, maybe a little less. He came to the first district. And the reason I put him in the first district was so that he could have an impact. And, you know, we do make our assignments based on having that impact, making sure we have officers who are assigned to each district that the community can relate to, they can see themselves in, but we can't isolate. We can't have, you know, our officers where, you know, this is a white neighborhood that can only be white officers. This is a black neighborhood that can only be black officers. But we have to have the diversity, but we are reflective. If you look on our website, you know, we talk about our open data portal, talks about our staffing, talks about our demographics. So if there's something specific, you can absolutely take a look at that. But we look at, you know, each individual officer. If there's someone who's really unique that can make a really big impact in a certain area, we do consider that when we look at their assignments. And as far as immigration concerns, our officers have very clear direction when it comes to immigration. The Division of Police will not enforce non-criminal immigration standards. So we, of course, you know, we have a duty to uphold the law. And if there's a violent, you know, felon that's in the area, of course, we're going to take action against felony crimes. But when it comes to non-criminal immigration enforcement, the Division of Police has no part of that. So I hope that addresses both questions. Thank you.
Do we have,
Good evening. My name is Terry Wong. I was a former police commissioner. I was, for the last 2 years, retaliated against by most of the commission that remains, and that might not be known to many of you because the internal dynamics of the commission and the truth of the commission has been buried by our local press. But let me tell you how this affects you and the work of the commission, because the work of the commission is what affects the community. I want to address the gentleman's issue with Commander Mafo Judd. He is also my commander. I live in District 2. The truth of what happened is that a community member sent me a complaint about Mr. Mafo Judd after they were unable to get any movement from the committee on the commission that was tasked with dealing with promotions, and Executive Director Jason Goodrick ignored this complaint. And it is the complaint about homophobic remarks, xenophobic remarks, and the commission sat on those allegations for months. The two co-chairs, John Adams and Sharina Zayed, misused their authority as chairs to block my ability to ask for the disciplinary records. And the police could have just easily given me the records so I could personally investigate. So that is the truth here. The Community Police Commission has been completely and fully captured by the police establishment and the political establishment. It is unfortunate because we are at a time, as many have mentioned, that we are under crisis with a new administration. So I do want to highlight the fact that there is an impending issue with our immigrant community. I received reports while I was in a committee meeting today about the reappointments of the new commissioners, and I assure you these new commissioners are not going to do anything to help the community as far as I can see. I'll hope for the best, but I'm not going to hold my breath. And I want the community to know that there has been a law, despite what is being said here, there has been a law that has been shared by the ACLU in state law, now forcing local and state law enforcement to comply in enforcing immigration requirements with the federal government. We always knew that it required the cooperation of local police because you need to detain the people somewhere. So please, do not tell us that your police forces are not going to be involved. And I'm directing this at District Commander 1 because I've received reports on West 115th and Detroit that these raids are happening. People have observed local police, Lakewood police engaging with the ICE officials. Please stop lying to the community. And Commander Mafo Judd, this is not just an issue that you can say affects the Hispanic community. Immigrants, I represent the Asian community and the Hispanic community represent 80% of all immigrants. After my removal from the commission, there will be no one that represents the Asian community, no one that represents any experience, direct experience with immigration, refugees, or limited English status. And I want to address the other issue with the fact that, so this is not an issue of just the commission not doing discipline. As you may well know, the commission has blocked the sole citizen appeal of Mr. Antoine Tolbert, who is, I believe, a member of District 4. And he is a violence interrupter that has been very successful in working in that community. So you are not allowing community members to even stand up and defend their community from safety, to do things that your officers are either unwilling to do or unable to do, because your goal is not to actually help the community. And I want to address the other issue with the consent decree. Here's what I notice about the consent decree. I'm the child of physicists. Nothing moves unless it has the right force in the right direction. And the consent decree, as I can see it, is not designed in a strategic way. It's not, how are we going to fix the police if you're simply going to say, oh, you fulfilled this paragraph.
Okay, so Ms. Wong, your question is directed at which commander?
I'm making a comment.
All right, so we're going to thank you for your observations and comments.
This is my First
and we are
Amendment right.
going to close this session down, and we are going to move into the commanders will be in the back.
Violating my First Amendment rights as a member of the public.
If you have any additional questions for a Q&A with the commanders,
you're violating
you're more than welcome to do that. Thank you all very much. Thank you for your comment, Ms. Wong.
Police forces and the community. Why are you violating the public's right to know and violating the public members' ability to speak on behalf of the community? All five members, except for Jim Chura, that's currently on the commission,